This is Real Generational Wealth. Live from Southern California, this is Abby, Espy, and Jen.
Hi, ladies.
Hi, everyone.
Happy
Hello.
Tuesday.
Happy
Yay.
Tuesday.
Welcome back to Real Generational Wealth, where we have over 50 years of combined experience making sure you and your family always have a place to call home. We have a lot to talk about today. We want to talk to you sellers out there and want to answer all your questions. So if you're tuning in live, be sure to hashtag live. And if you're catching us on the replay, hashtag replay. Before we get into any of our topics, ladies, how are you? I know we skipped last month. It was a crazy month in May. So how's everything been? How are you guys?
Good. Just trying to lose weight for the summer, but the summer already started. Also, I'm kind of taking it easy, doing a lot of personal development and career development in real estate. Because
Nice.
the market, when the interest rates are higher, it does slow down a little bit in certain markets. So I'm taking that time to do some,
There you go.
career development and spend time with my kids. But after they go back to school, then it's like, go, go, go.
That's right.
That's awesome. I mean, it's a great time to concentrate on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's
How
right.
about you, Jen? Don't you have?
She's got a surprise for us.
I guess for those of you viewing, if you don't know already, I have posted it. I am pregnant. We're expecting in November. So that was kind of a part of why things were kind of crazy in May. We also did have EDC in May, but I guess to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, how you're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown. I too am feeling a little bit of a slowdown in the market. And not necessarily that the
Not that
market
it's
is
slow. I think it's the
Not that
inventory.
slow, no.
No, the market is still hot, which we
Yeah, the
will get
market's
to,
hot,
and
but
we will talk about.
yeah.
But I think I'm kind of telling myself not to stress too much because I am creating this tiny little human inside of me.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's been great. I will say, I mean, I've talked to other moms that are other realtors who have become moms, and the one collective thing I'm coming down to and is I can't be more thankful for this career, right? As
Yes.
being a mom, right? Because we do, even though we are stuck to our clients' schedules, we do still set our times and our boundaries that kind of work for us. Like you, Abby, you said, like you're using this time to spend time with your family, and SB, this allows you to travel back and forth so you can further your business also in the Philippines. And
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
beauty
my
of
business
working in this industry.
Yeah.
The only thing is we only get paid when we're working, right?
Yes.
So we create our own destiny, but we don't get a paycheck. So
We need to do our side hustles too, right?
Definitely.
Do our side
Definitely.
hustles.
I don't have a side hustle. Like being a mom, that's my side hustle. That's like a full-time job in itself. So
Yeah. Well, you're busy enough, Abby. Yeah.
What about you, SB? How are things with you?
Well, I've been going back and forth to the Philippines and learning different things about real estate there. In fact, there's a big thing right now where there's that extrajudicial partition amnesty. That is the process of transferring the name of or the title to the present heirs, because there's a lot of us there, especially the baby boomers and even the kids of the baby boomers are inheriting properties from their grandparents, their great grandparents, and the problem is that the titles are not in order. So our past president in the Philippines have this amnesty that he gave about 3 years ago, and it's supposed to end last year, and then they extended it for another year. Now it's supposed to be this month, June, is the deadline. So they are extending that again, and the new president is supposed to sign this extension for 2 years. So, which is good because what's happening now is that it's really boosting the activity for the real estate there, and it's
Nice.
yeah, and it's a way for a lot of our baby boomers, all over the world who are about to retire, have a chance to go to the Philippines and see how they can cash out those assets.
Very cool.
Yeah, so
Speaking of,
it's really nice. Yeah.
well, so I guess that's probably a good transition into our topic today because you said cashing out assets, right?
Mhm.
A
Yeah.
lot of sellers nowadays, I think, don't realize how much equity they're actually sitting on,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Um, but then you have the other argument where some people are saying, well, what about these high interest rates? What is going on with the market? I'll tell you, in our market right now, or at least here in the valley, it's hot. It's crazy. We are receiving multiple offers on almost all of our listings. The demand is there, but the reason it's so crazy is there's no inventory, which is why it's seller's market. So I know some of you guys have been watching our last few episodes where we were talking about buyers and how with the interest rates going up last year, buyers were able to kind of ask for a few things, right? Buyers were able to ask for credits and some concessions, and now sellers are kind of taking that power back, right? They're starting to call the shots again. I'm starting to see that sellers are not giving any credits. They're asking for shortened contingencies again.
Oh,
Um, I'm not seeing any, not too many at least, where they're asking to remove appraisal contingencies yet or
mhm,
loan contingencies the way they did in
mhm,
2021, but they
mhm,
are asking for shortened, and especially with offers, hitting several to 10, 15 offers a property. Some
mhm,
buyers are willingly doing that just to get their offer accepted.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah. I wanted to ask Abby. I guess I'll ask her to come back. I wonder if it's the same in the Empire.
In the well, for sure over there because those are mostly first-time home buyers,
Right.
you know,
The price point's a little
and
different.
yeah, and those who bought like 5 years ago who bought new homes, they would like to move now if they can, you know.
Yeah.
So they do have a lot of assets. It's just a matter of the strategy on how you can move from one house to another without paying a lot of capital gains, or still when you buy the replacement home, how you're
Right.
going to do, right?
Yeah.
But what she's telling me is that there's a lot of new homes that are being built there, and the builders are doing a lot of incentives too.
What
You know,
incentives are you seeing with these new
all
builds?
closing costs, or some have inventories that they would like to get rid of, and yeah, they're giving a lot of incentives, and in fact, they are opening doors to a lot of brokers. Before they don't want to work with brokers. Now they are still operating with
Right.
brokers. You know.
Hold on, SB, one second. I see Abby joined us on a different camera.
Yeah.
Let me add her real quick.
We
Hold
lost
on.
her. We lost her.
There she
There you
is. I
go.
was like, I
There
just
she
seen
is.
that.
Good thing you have another computer.
No, my screen went blank. So
Oh,
even though you guys can see me, it just went
You
black.
look good. You look at that. You have a backup.
I was like, there's another Abby joining our studio. Um, well, I guess Abby, now that you're jumping right back on, I was talking to SB about how the market here is a little nuts here in LA, which I mean, we're both out here, but how is it in the Inland Empire? Are you seeing multiple offers on homes again? Are you seeing like what crazy things are sellers asking for? Does it feel like
So
2021?
it's a little bit of a mix. So I've been showing homes over, I would say like 1.25 million in the Riverside area, and then there's some homes that are priced 1,350,000, and they'll sell for 1.4 million. But so it all depends on the home. There's another one. It was on sale for 1.25 and sold for 1.3. So something that they both have in common is they have a flat lot, over an acre yard, a swimming pool, and upgraded. So when
Mhm.
they have those four components, they usually sell for above the list price, and they'll get multiple offers. Whereas their neighbors that might be bigger, that might be upgraded but don't have a pool, they'll sit on the market for a long time because that price point, the payment is a little bit higher. So they are affected by interest rates a little bit more. And even in my neighborhood in Eastvale, um, a lot of the homes over 1 million, they're still going for multiple offers. But like my neighbor has a home that's 4,600 square feet for 1.16, but they started at 1.3. They were on the market for more than a year, so this is their second year on the
Wow.
market. I I
Oh my
didn't want
God.
to get that listing because it's overpriced, and everyone in our neighborhood always makes fun of the listing agent because they're not able to sell it. But once they get to below 1.1, then I'll once they consider that, I would probably want to take the listing because
Right.
that's really what the home is worth. So it all depends if it's priced right and it has all of the features that buyers are looking for, then it'll go multiple offers, even if it's over $1 million. And even in Hemet, we're looking at homes for 500,000. Every single home had more than 8 offers on it. So that price point is a little bit more challenging. And
So in those price points, right? You're 500 to 700. You're first time home buyers.
Yeah.
Are
yes,
you seeing any counters where they're already asking to remove contingencies? Like the loan or appraisal
the
contingencies, or not quite yet?
the counter offers, no, they don't have that. You still, as a buyer, you still have a little bit of leverage if you're a
Right.
strong buyer, and you can close right away. Because I know a lot of realtors, they're cognizant of the fact that many buyers can fall out of escrow because the interest rates go up and they
They're
can't qualify.
sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't qualify for that loan amount any longer. So
Right.
that's what I'm seeing with builders too. Like a lot of buyers are no longer qualified for the home that they reserved 6 months to a year ago, and now they're going back on the market because of
Right.
the rising interest rates.
That's, I
Hey,
think,
we have a question here by Pierre Kane. Hi,
um,
thank you for asking that question. He's from Texas.
Oh,
yes.
Texas.
Yeah, he said, would you say market is correcting itself, and how much do you think the next presidential election will affect the market?
Thanks, ladies. I think that it's correcting itself. I
Yeah.
think a lot of it is definitely also from last year, when the interest rates kind of shot up. And so in 2020 and 2021, I felt when the interest rates dropped to near nothing, right, and everybody was overinflating prices, um, that was this kind of superficial market inflation, right?
Yeah.
And when the
Last
interest
two
rates,
years, was it? Yeah.
yeah, and then when the interest rates skyrocketed last year, basically went from 3 to 6 within a few months, prices
Mhm.
started to correct themselves. So I think we are still
Mhm. But because of
seeing
the
the after
shortage
effects of that,
of
because you are
supply,
having this, like Abby said, right?
are you okay,
Because
Abby?
Abby, like you're saying, you have this seller, your neighbor that is sitting on the market, for over a year, right? He's
Mhm.
still kind of up here, not realizing the market has corrected to down here already, and he needs to
You have an echo.
adjust, right?
Hey, Jen, you're
I don't know,
echoing.
Yeah.
can you freeze?
But I think what I think is they stayed at an interest rate that was too low for too long. So I think there should have been more of a gradual increase in the interest rates rather than like 3 to 7
That was a
within a
drastic
year.
increase.
That
Yeah.
was that's terrible. Like you're like trying to mess up the economy right there. Like I
Mhm.
think yeah, they should have gone up to probably 4 or 5% sooner, like in 2021 or like towards the end of 2020 or something. Because
Right.
Well, we were like 3.5 for quite a while. You know.
yeah,
And
everyone refinanced. Like
yeah,
we
Yeah.
bought at a high interest rate and then we
Yeah.
refinanced at a
We
30-year
didn't
fixed
sit
rate.
on 4.5 and 5.5 for a long time. It was like a jump. A big
Yeah,
jump. You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
But
that's what caused a dip in the market a little bit, jumping from 3 to 7. We're at 7.25 right now for conventional,
yeah.
and they could have just they could have gone there sooner. They should have started sooner.
yeah,
But I think the market is correcting itself. A lot of people are hesitant to buy a home because interest rates are high. But what are you going to do when interest rates go down to below 5%? You're going to be competitive. You're going to be competing against people that have 20% down and they're willing to remove contingencies or not have any contingencies. Right now you have the option, you still have a pretty good chance, even though there's four offers, four more offers, you're not going against 30 offers.
34,
So
exactly.
yeah, 30, 40. So four offers is not that bad, or having several offers or going against one other offer, it's not too bad. And at least you can get a home right now and then refinance when rates go down a little bit. Because some of my clients are doing what's called a 5/5 adjustable rate mortgage. So what they got was 5% for 5 years, and it adjusts to a maximum of 7.25, which is what the rate is
The
right now
market is, yeah.
in the next 5 years. So first 5 years, 5%, and then the max in the 5 years after that is 7.25%. So
Oh,
So then
there's
after that five
it's an
years,
adjustable arm.
Yes, it's a 5/5 arm.
Mm,
That's what the product is. So
yeah.
that's what my loan officer friend, that's what he recommended for my clients, just to combat the higher interest rates right now.
And there's also some seller or lender paid buy downs.
Oh yeah, we did the buy downs. The buy downs are a little bit more temporary, like for two
Mhm.
two two
1
years,
year or
right? The
2
Q1,
years.
yeah, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years at the most. 3 years is expensive though. It's like
Mhm.
over 20,000.
Well, I'm seeing some listing agents now that are even publishing, seller carry back, seller willing to finance,
Yeah.
especially for income
Yeah.
properties, which is really, really good and interesting because, in the 90s, that was very popular where you do wraps, you wrap around, you assume loans, you know, because right now the interest rate in the bank, if you put your money in the bank, it's still 1.5%. It's nothing, right?
No,
So,
like even us, we don't keep any money in the bank. Like we kind of live
right.
like poor people.
Yeah,
No,
you
like
guys
we
cash your
invest. Yeah,
yes,
we
we
invest like
invest.
a third of
Uh-huh.
like especially my husband's salary. Like we invest a third
Mhm.
we put it in investments. So they're like there, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, we never put anything in a savings
Mhm.
account hoping to make
Yeah.
money. It's just there
And the
waiting to
stock
transfer
market
to
is
the
really
checking account.
crazy too, right?
Yeah.
So what other people are doing now in the investment side, they're really taking advantage of this. Where if the house is paid in full, you go in there and make an offer, and you can ask the guy, "What about if you carry the loan?"
So we tried those, and
You know,
usually it's a 10-year payback, or you have to pay it back within 4 years, like
well,
something crazy
you
like.
can do an interest only, and then in 10 years you can refinance. Yeah, I'm sure the market is going to do something within 10 years. Usually, in the span of 5 years, the market changes in different ways.
Yeah. I do agree with that. I mean, I guess to kind of just finish off Pierre's last question on how much do you think the next presidential election will affect the market? I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know.
Well,
I,
typically during the election year, they try to make
things
it
do
look
shift.
good.
Yes. I was actually talking to a lender this
Right?
morning,
They already
and
did.
he said that towards the end of this term,
Yeah,
things are going to drop down,
even more.
to make them
Yeah,
look good. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
Of
shift.
No,
course, that's
I
how it
I
works.
I think we should have a president that is a good businessman, or like a business person, like, because I feel like the whole country, the way it's run, it's a business. You're in charge of pretty much the world's economy, so you
Mhm,
should have good business acumen, not
mhm.
like really like a political background. I don't know. That's just my thing. I mean, I'm a political science major, um, so yeah, I that's
Yeah.
just my opinion. But, Pierre's also asking what's the third 5 year on the 5/5. So it's
The rate. Yeah.
the loan is after the, what does he mean? The third is at the 5/5.
Like,
So
what,
it's
what
only
so if the rate starts at, like, what's your interest rate, I guess, from the beginning and what it goes up
so
to?
it starts at 5, and then it can go up to 7.25, because it's like prime or index plus
So it's
something.
fixed for the first 5 years at 5%, right?
Yes, it's fixed. And then
Yeah.
the most it
Yeah.
can go the 5 years after that, up to the 10th year, is 7.25. So that's the most. It's
Does
not
it adjust
So
every
very,
it's not
year?
tied into an
it
index?
doesn't
Because
adjust
it's
every
tied
year.
into an index, and then they
Yes,
have
tied
like
into an
merge it.
index.
Yeah.
So after that, I don't know how much it goes after that because typically,
So that may be your cap rate. The 7.5 might be your cap
yes,
rate.
like 7.25 is a cap.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a
that's
cap
the
rate.
cap. And
Because
then
before, in the 1980s, we used to have in adjustables, and it was going even all the way to 18%. Can you imagine that?
what?
18.
Like a credit card.
Yeah,
That's
18.
worse than a credit card. I never.
But of course, the houses there are about like 200,000
Right.
at that
Maybe that's
time.
why they have the usury laws.
Yeah. But for some reason, 7% cap over 15 over the life of the loan. That's a cap. That's the reason why they have a cap,
Yeah.
because they don't want to get into this 18% outrageous interest
Yeah,
rates again.
if you want more details,
Protection.
you can send me a message and then I'll get you in touch with the
Yeah.
I can get you in
It's
touch with the
lender.
lender,
Yeah.
the from California Credit Union.
Yeah. One thing too that I noticed is that there's a lot of people who left California that are coming back to California. You
Yeah,
know, yeah,
the weather. They don't like the weather.
they
I
don't
mean,
like
our
the
weather
weather.
hasn't even been the nicest, but yeah,
It's been
people
gloomy.
are
It
coming
is the
back.
beach, you know. Yeah, but I also have agents because I am with CIPS, right, the Certified International Property Specialist, and there's some agents that are multiple licensing themselves, different state, like Idaho, Tennessee.
Oh, me too. I took
Yeah,
the Las
Abby, I
Vegas,
remember you
or
did
not
with
Vegas, the
Las
Nevada
Vegas.
State exam. Super easy. Didn't
Yeah,
even study, but I
uh-huh.
passed it.
Right.
The Yeah, so a lot of people are doing that.
Hmm. So for sellers, there's really sellers that really need to sell, and if they're wondering how they can avoid capital gains or where they can afford to buy, there are different ways and options. You just have to find the creative agents out there like us.
Okay, so here's one of the questions I get from a lot of potential sellers is,
Yeah.
should I sell as is or should I fix my house? Should I remodel my house first and, change certain things and then put it on the market?
I
So
want to
I'll ask you
comment on
ladies
that
first
one.
before I
I
chime
want
in
to
my
comment
two
on, I
cents.
noticed something because before staging was like a must. Remember? But now I'm noticing that more and more homes are just not staging anymore. But they're fixing it. They're fixing it. It's clean. They try to make it decent. What about you, Abby? What do you see?
So, I mean, to get back to Jen's question, I would say it depends on the house. Like before,
Mhm.
I had this listing in Roland Heights, and my client was like, "Oh, I need to sell my house for over 1 million."
Mhm.
But if they don't fix it up, it would only sell for like 875,
Below.
maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had a lot. So I advised them to get some repairs, but that can also be very touchy because if you advise them to get repairs and they don't get the money back, then it's like that's your fault. So it all depends on the objective of the seller, if they have the means
Mhm.
to do the work,
Repairs,
because
yeah.
it can get stressful. Like you would think something is 30,000, but it ends up being like 70,000 to
Or-
do all the repairs. So it can get very stressful, and then you might have to sell right away or sell it unfinished. So it all depends on the seller. Like for me too, I think sometimes a house too looks better without furniture. Like if it can look okay without furniture, then you don't need to stage it. But usually with my sellers, I'll give them a list of things, like less is more, just take everything off the counters and put everything in the garage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it looks presentable, or put it in
Yeah, they still
storage.
fix it. Yeah, they still stage it up using whatever they have.
Right.
Yeah. Well, for me, with the retirees, a lot of times they are really overwhelmed by how they're going to move. You know, so with with all the network that I have for relocation, or people who are doing the all this transition for them. I have people that can pack for them. They clean, you know, things like that, that I can pull and get them to take care of what the sellers need to do, whether to fix or to stage or to pack. That's something that you can do as a whole, as a
Right.
whole package. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I mean, I
helpful.
agree with Abby where, or well, both of you. I mean, I think every house is different, right?
Hmm.
Every situation is different. And there might be people who are already in the process of moving and they only have very minimal furniture in there. So that's perfect, right? To just have this staged look. And then there's others who just have been in there for 20 plus years and it's like, hey, you gotta declutter
Oh
as
yeah.
much as possible.
Hmm.
As far as repairs, I always do. So after my listing appointment with my clients, even after that, I come in and after they declutter their things, I go in and check again. We do another walkthrough and see,
Hmm.
what does need to be fixed. Because there are certain things that I feel like you said, Abby, if you tell them you got to do this and they put in just for round number purposes, if they put in 10 grand, they're expecting 50 grand to come back. Sometimes it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And a coat of paint, if you're painting the whole house white on the inside because each room is a different color, that'll cost you, let's say, $5,000. You
Hmm.
may or may not get that $5,000.
Hmm.
It just, I think it just depends on the house, depends on the neighborhood, depends on what you owe on the house, right? There's so many factors that play into the strategy, I think, for selling a home. And that's why I feel it's so important to work with an agent that knows the area, that knows how to run the numbers and to basically set you up for success when it comes to selling your home.
Yeah, getting the right people to work on the house is a big, it's a big plus. um, because you can, especially right now, home improvement is really busy right now.
Yeah.
Because people are tending to stay at their home. So what they're doing is they're using their equity to fix their home, expand it, all that. So it's very hard to find contractors that are really truthful and who would deliver not a sloppy job, but really a good job for you. So if if you're not so rehearsed, or you're not so well versed with dealing with contractors, it's always good to have somebody to find that out for you. Like usually realtors know the right people, and the contractors, when they work with licensed agents, they want to make sure that they do a good job, you know because they want the next referral.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's good to have a package, putting it together with an experienced realtor to do all the job for you. Some people try to do it themselves and save some money, and a lot of times it becomes a disaster, and
Yeah.
it becomes longer, and it takes longer, with more headache
Yeah.
and even more expensive. You know, so those are the factors that you have to really think of.
Definitely.
Hmm. Hmm.
What ladies would you say is, or what are some of the best strategies do you think would be the best way to market a home for sale?
To market a home for sale, me usually I get like the best photo. Well, first I go over. I send my clients a list of things to do for them, because it's
Yeah.
not just it's not just me doing the work, but the seller has to do some work too if they
Right.
expect to get the highest amount possible for their home. So they have to declutter, and then once they declutter, then we'll have photographers in there and videographers to make the home look pretty. Like
Video is
you're
a big deal right now.
the what?
Video.
Yeah, so we'll have the videographers in there, and then the goal is to get as many people in there as possible.
Mhm.
And
Open
but
house is again popular.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I went to an open house in your Belinda. I think the home was like 1.25. There was 30 people waiting outside before it started,
Mhm.
and this was on a Friday. I was like,
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of listings now. That's what people are doing. I mean, that's what we do on
Uh-huh.
most of our listings is if we list during the beginning of the week, we wait we wait to do any showings until the open house, right?
Oh
So
yeah, because you got to prepare the home, right?
exactly, you're preparing the home, but I mean that way it's
Bring up the
also
excitement.
yeah, yeah,
Bring up the excitement. Yeah. In Pasadena, I was showing some property there, and it was like 1.2, 1.2 right now, or 1 million, 1.2, between 1 and 1.5. These are like the starter homes.
I
Some of
know,
them are even two-bedroom.
it's so crazy.
And there was this open house, and there are two agents there. One that is seated right in front of the front door, making sure that they collect the names and the phone numbers and the cards. And then there's another guy who is a backup in the back. You know, so and a lot of people are just going through. You
Yeah,
know,
Or hopefully there's no furniture in there, or
there
you
were
know.
it's furnished. It was furnished. In fact, the furnitures were the original owner's furniture, but I'm pretty sure they removed a lot of them.
yeah.
But it looks very nicely staged, and yeah, they expected a lot of people coming in, and the following Tuesday it was sold.
Nice.
Wow.
Mhm.
I mean, I do agree with you, ladies. I think those are some of really important things for a seller, right? You got to make sure the house is shown in the best light, and then as agents, we market it in the best light. But in my opinion, I think ultimately what sells the house is the price, right?
Mhm.
So going back to Abby's neighbor, or just in general right now, even though it is a seller's market, there are still homes sitting on the market a little bit longer than the others, and that's because these sellers are still kind of here when the market is here, and working with an agent that tells you like, hey, this is where the comps are, this is where the market is. If you price your home right as a seller, you will get multiple offers. At least you'll at least get that price right. You'll at least get the price you're asking for or more.
Mhm.
um, it's all in the way that it's priced and marketed, and that's why it's so important to work with an agent that knows the market and knows what they're doing, so that
Mhm.
it
Yeah, like in the case of my neighbor, they could paint the garage. Like, the first thing you think about is, oh, okay, the price is this much. Let me see why. And then when you get there, the garage is faded. You kind of just want to leave.
Yeah.
So with their house, they should make those repairs. I mean, when you price a home over $1 million in the Inland Empire, you kind of people want something that's
people are expecting that.
move-in ready.
Yeah.
So I think that's their mistake there.
Mhm.
If I was going to take that listing, I would just hire some painters and get it painted and then put it on the market. Like I would even take care of the cost of the painters for them if they don't
Just
if
to
they
get
don't
it
want
done.
to do it. Just to get it out of there. I keep seeing the signs like, oh, when is this going to sell? It's been 2 years already.
But that's the thing,
So,
right?
what do you
As a
think about how are we going to encourage sellers to sell? Because a lot of them who want to sell, they don't want to pay capital gains. And as you said, Jen, earlier, is some people want to just stay in their home because they don't know where to go. You know, but there's a lot of people who are moving out of the area, or some people in my space. I'm dealing with a lot of baby boomers. This is the best time for them to do downsizing, get that fat equity that they have, secure that and downsize, or even consider relocation. you
yeah,
know there's a lot of people moving out of the state. In fact, I have a lot of people also checking out Philippines, because that's where I'm from, right? And they are looking at second homes in the Philippines, buying cash using their equity. you know and this is a perfect time to really leverage, actually, because this is the height of the equity that they have in their home,
yeah,
especially for the baby boomers. Yeah.
yeah. I think a lot of sellers don't realize how much equity they're sitting on.
Yeah.
And all that takes for any of you who are on the fence is to call one of us, and
Yeah.
we can run a quick evaluation on your house.
Mhm.
And you may be, I mean, I have a client that sold their house after being in there a year and a half, and they had already gained 90,000 dollars in
Mhm.
equities and from when they first bought it. But I did talk to them about the capital gains, and so they decided to wait a few more months to
Mhm.
hit that past that 2 year mark,
Mhm.
so they don't get hit with that. But
Mhm.
again, that's all part of the strategy, right? And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think it's informing yourself and working with an agent that knows, so that you can educate yourself and kind of what your options are.
Yeah. Well, 1031 exchange is there.
Mm.
I'm in fact I have one company that I'm collaborating with that offers DST, which is
What's
like
that?
it's like an installment sale
Oh
where
yeah.
you defer your capital gains, you transfer it to an investment of like a commercial complex, you
Hmm.
know so you'll be one slice owner of that commercial complex, and you don't have to deal with property management. you
Right.
know you don't have to deal with all these broken toilets, things like that. So people who are baby boomers and they have two, three, four houses, they don't want to sell it, or they don't, liquidate it, because they don't want to deal with 1031 exchange anymore, where they have to look for the next replacement home.
Next
So
property.
there
Yeah.
are different ways of deferring your tax, putting it to the next generation, or skip even a generation to your grandkids by doing that, or leasing. There are
Yeah.
different ways, but it really is worth checking them out. For me, I don't do 1031 exchange. I just assist. So I do have a lot of companies that I collaborate with, whether it is a structured sale, or installment sale, or a typical 1031 exchange. You know,
Yeah.
or even go to the Philippines and invest there too. Of
The
course,
only thing, I think a lot of people here, they're hesitant to invest in the Philippines because, like what you said, the chain of title, it's not, um, the system is a little bit questionable.
no,
Like,
no, not
am I gonna have
necessarily.
am I gonna have title to the house or
No, Abby,
where or what?
no.
Like,
That's the old, Philippines. One thing that I can tell about, a good thing about it, is that we don't have reduction of prices the way we do here in United States. In the Philippines, the properties there, when you buy it, it just goes up. It doesn't go down.
That's cool.
No, we don't. They don't have crashes there, unlike here that we do. Because over there, when you buy a house, usually they keep it, and they pay it off.
mhm.
Here we are, capitalism. We leverage 30 years. You buy a house for 30 years with 3.5%. This is really an opportunity. It's a lot of opportunity. But then, you rock with the stock market too sometimes, or with inflation. You know,
Yeah.
because the people are winning right now. People who doesn't have a lot of mortgage, or if they have mortgage, they're hanging on to their 3.5% and 2.5% that they got a few years ago.
Yeah.
So if
Oh
you need
yeah.
to liquidate that, you need to take out that equity. You can use it and then don't pay capital gains. You can use those kinds of strategies. You can even be the lender. You know that way
Yeah.
you don't have to pay too much tax, because the only tax you pay is whatever you get in your hand, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if you're the lender for the new couple, and if you see that they're dependable, you have a collateral. The house is your collateral. So some people would do that. They become the financier. It's better than putting your money in the bank.
True.
Mhm.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know what I'm noticing too, like, so in our last episode, someone commented, "Oh, the best thing you guys can do is tell them to wait." So, I'm thinking, wait for what?
I know.
Rent for a year and wait for what? Wait for the homes to be out of reach because I think I was reading something that by 2030, middle class may not be able to attain home ownership,
Hmm.
by the year 2030 because
Mm.
the way home prices are going and with inventory being as low as it is right now, like you look at the interest rates are 7% and people are still buying homes even with rates that high. Even if we get to 10%, people are still going to be buying homes.
Yeah.
So you got to think like what's going to happen 5 years down the line if I keep waiting. So I have a lot of clients that are on the fence and they want to wait, and I'm just like, the longer you wait, the the more difficult it's going to be to
Yeah.
to become a homeowner.
Hmm.
So I just
It's
want to
funny because 2 years ago, even last year, I was hearing some people say, "Oh, the market is so crazy. I don't want to be in this zoo of competing with 10 or 20 different offers. I'll
Yeah.
wait. I'll wait
but I
more."
some of them, I think they might say that just to, maybe they're not in a position to buy a house and they want to make themselves feel better, because that's what I see, like a lot of the comments on TikTok. Oh, look at that house. Oh, you shouldn't buy a house right now. But it's coming from someone that is not in a position to buy a home. So also, like, when you guys take advice from your friends, see how many properties your friends own and how their portfolio looks like before you take advice from them, because you should never take advice from someone that's like not doing as good as you, or not in the place where you want to be.
Right.
So yeah, that's just something, because I'm noticing a lot of people are waiting for rates to go down before they
Mhm,
buy a home.
mhm.
But when the rates go down, you're going to be competing with a lot of
A
people.
lot more offers. I think a lot of people don't, the people who are still waiting didn't get a taste of how crazy it was in 2020 and 2021, right? I have closed already on a couple buyers this year that I was working with initially in 2021, and they lost too many offers and they were like, all right, we're going to wait. So they did wait. They waited a
Mm,
year and a half or almost 2 years. And now they were like, we're tired of waiting because now our interest rate is more than double what we got last time. So
yeah.
they decided to jump, and yeah, so the property values are higher than then, or I mean, I guess they're a little bit the same than when we were looking, but interest rates are higher. So the payments are higher, and which they realize they can refi, down the line. But if they had bought a couple years ago at the same price at a lower interest rate, they would have already had equity built
A
over the
lot of
last few
equity.
years. So I think there are some instances where you can wait. It just kind of depends on your personal situation. If you're not in the right position to buy,
Yeah.
or if you're just in a great housing situation where you're not paying rent, or I don't know what
Yeah, if you're living at home with mommy and
exactly,
daddy.
and there are some cases I would say wait, but in most cases there is no reason to wait.
Yeah,
The
if you
best thing to do is to
can,
buy real estate and then wait.
if
Yeah.
you can, then do it.
Yeah,
There's always ways to, some people are buying houses now with a down payment that is not money. You know, it's just that it can
Oh,
be an
like
exchange.
Bitcoin.
No, no, no. It can be an exchange. That was years ago. I had one first-time home buyer that had a classic
Oh,
car,
yeah.
and used that for down payment.
that's cool.
Yeah. So whatever is in value, sometimes the seller would like to accept something that as long as it's in value, you know, nobody's gonna dictate on that.
I would
Yeah,
say if the house has been sitting for a while, maybe the seller will be more open to that.
yeah,
Like if
Mm,
it's a stale listing,
mm.
maybe they'll take a car.
Well, it can be a car, it can be gold, you know, it can be an option, it can be an option.
yeah.
I've seen some that did an option. So because the bigger down payment you give them, maybe in kind, doesn't have to be, it's one way for them to get around,
Yeah,
capital gains and all that. So it's not only creativity, but it's also a resource,
Hmm.
that is
definitely.
useful. Yeah, finding the right people, finding the right match. Yeah, you can still, uh, as I said, always, you have to really want it first. Then things happen, doors open, situations happen, and yeah, it can be done
I agree.
legally, as long as you do it legally. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think that covers everything. If any of you are watching and are still a little curious on how to get your house ready for sale, or just are even interested on how much what your property's worth, or how much you can get out of it, definitely
Mhm.
contact one of us. We'd love to help you out. And yeah,
Yeah.
anything else, ladies? I think that wraps up our episode.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you for
one thing I wanted to say is that the last word I say is, if you are interested on finding out more about how you can defer your capital gains, on all these things that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, yeah, reach out. It's a discussion. It is something that you have to really converse about. It's not something that you can just pick up and then go run with it. There's different
Yeah, that's true.
strategies, and there's the right people that can help you.
Yeah.
Don't just go randomly with anybody. Yeah. Okay.
Don't just watch your TikToks and reels for information.
I don't do TikTok. That's one thing.
I
I
mean,
love
some are great,
TikTok
but I
though.
feel like some leave out a lot of information. So
They do it so you can call them.
Yeah.
exactly,
Uh-huh.
exactly.
Okay.
All right. Well, that'll wrap up our show. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next month.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.